explain the number of people who are never found. With the sheer mind-bogglingly expansive areas of wild, inaccessible mountainous land to cover, search and rescue teams can have a daunting time trying to locate someone. The unpredictable weather and extremely cold winters here also limit the times when searches can be conducted, all of which leads finding one person in all of that a logistical nightmare. Taking this all into account, it is amazing that the authorities ever find anyone here at all. How can this majestic land of pristine views and natural beauty so greedily swallow up so many people without a trace? Whether the mysterious disappearances of the Alaska Triangle are the result of natural perils, strange energy vortexes, or ancient evil spirits, they are certainly alarming. Understanding of the mystery here, and that the only people who will ever know for sure are the ones who never came back to tell the tale.
Vile vortices on the planetary grid, vortices in the Tropic of Cancer. Mohenjo-Daro, site of the Rama Empire. The Devil's Sea, Dragon's Triangle. Hamakulia, near Hawaii, the scene of high volcanic activity. The Bermuda Triangle, the Algerian megalithic ruins. The North Pole, vortices in the Tropic of Capricorn. The Zimbabwe megaliths. Wharton Basin, the site of the Wallaby Fracture Zone, the edge of the Hebrides Trench near the Fiji Islands. Easter Island Colossi, the South Atlantic Anomaly, the South Pole.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
So the story takes place in 2007. It was and still is the only paranormal experience I have ever had. I was working at a TV station in a small town. I'm not going to say which one, but you may be able to figure it out with the details I provide. Don't really give a fuck if you want to try to figure it out. I worked as a master control operator on the late shift. The station I worked in was creepy as fuck for a couple reasons. Firstly, the building was old as hell. A lot of the structure of the building used for storage and the area where the transmitter was just in absolutely horrible condition. Cracks in walls, broken lights, exposed wiring, etc. In retrospect, it was probably actually pretty dangerous. The other reason this building was so creepy was that at one point in the 70s, it fucking burned down, and it was rumored that several people died in the fire. I have never been able to confirm this, though I've been told specific names of the deceased. Being the cheap bastards the family that owned the place were, instead of rebuild all of the building, they kept part of the fucking thing that stayed up and rebuilt a new part onto the remaining standing part. When I worked there, the original part of the building was now entirely condemned and all but falling down. There were 2 floors of the original building. A huge room that used to be a bowling alley, and an upstairs part that was used entirely for storage of old files and records. Now, I don't know exactly why there was a bowling alley as part of the old TV station, but I also know that they used to do a local wrestling show there as well. I guess TV stations just did weird shit in the 70s. Anyway, this condemned portion of the building was the creepiest part of it. The bowling alley was frozen in time. Covered in dust, everything still there. Fuck. I even found old scorecards in shoe cubbies when I went exploring in there on the nights and weekends. The bowling alley was completely cut off from power. It had no light except for sunlight through dusty windows and cracks in the wall. At night, a flashlight was the only light in that pitch black ass area. It was creepy. The only noises I heard in there were sounds of dripping water. It's worth mentioning that it was pretty much an unspoken rule that everyone understood that we weren't supposed to go in there. The only two doors to access it were behind the front desk and through a locked door in the copy room. I was like 18 at the time. I didn't give a fuck. I went back there when I was alone or when the skeleton crew was working. Sometimes me and some production and news people would go back there and explore. Like I said, this place was frozen in time. Upstairs, along with the files, we found boxes of old records. Like music records, Michael Jackson LPs and such, stuff that might have been worth some money. There were plenty of reasons to take people exploring over there. So, that's some history, onto the experience. I was working the sign-off shift one night as usual. The usual procedure was that at midnight, everyone except Master Control fucked off. Production, the remaining engineer, the news people all left around midnight. I was generally alone in the building until 2 to 3 a.m. until the station signed off. On this particular night, my buddy came up to the station to hang out with me. We'll call him Dan for convenience sake. I had people come chill up there pretty often. Friends liked checking out the station, and there wasn't shit to do but kill time. So it's about midnight and me and Dan are chilling watching whatever stupid shit was on air at the time, likely Bones or Family Feud or something gay. I start telling him about the bowling alley. I hype some shit up about how the people that died in the fire haunt that area and decide we can go ghost hunting. So I decide it's safe to let the automation just run for a while and we can leave the control room and go exploring. I take Dan or Dave or whatever the fuck his name is for a tour around the outside of the building first, showing him how fucked up it is. There were literally transmission lines going up to the tower that were held up on supports built on crumbling sheetrock. There was a sticker on a door that was bolted shut to the bowling alley that read "Watch for overhead wires, you can be killed." God damn, that place was jank. Anyway, I give Dan the usual tour I've given to like 5 people by now. Usually it was bitches because bitches love a brave man in a scary as fuck place. We go back there with flashlights and the walkie-talkies, and the whole time we're trying to contact spirits of the deceased with our walkie-talkies. Listening for voices, interference, etc. Didn't really get anything but some static, but it's a TV station, what did I expect? We were back there for probable room to resume being lazy fucks. Some time goes by and a walkie-talkie that I had left on started making some pretty fucked up noises. Definitely sounded like a really deep and staticky voice. Didn't think much of it because once again, TV station. Lots of equipment, signals. Humored this and tried to talk to what or whoever it was. Push button and talk into mic asking if anyone is there. Keep hearing something, but indistinguishable. Now this set of walkie-talkies made that very generic bloop sound every time you pushed the button to talk. After a few minutes of trying to talk to what I thought was nothing, the walkie-talkie started making that bloop noise all on its own. What the fuck? Maybe the dude on the other end is trying to use Morse or something because we can't hear each other very well. Pick up mic and talk and say if you can hear me, beep once for yes. We grab the second walkie-talkie and tune it to the same channel and nothing is happening. Not only is this only happening to one walkie-talkie, but we cannot make the second walkie-talkie simulate that same bloop noise on the other. Pushing the button is literally the only way to get the thing to make that fucking noise. This was the first moment when I went into, okay, maybe something is actually happening here mode. Start asking things like, is anyone there, beep once, if you can hear me, beep once, if you're in the building, beep once. It would beep once every single time. Also, it would not beep if you didn't say anything. It literally only responded when prompted. It was not Dan fucking with me. He was right next to me in plain view, other walkie-talkie was off. Set walkie-talkie down on the table. No one is touching it. Say out loud, if anyone can hear me, beep once. Nope. Motherfucking JPG. Dan and I run out of the room. We search the newsroom, studio, hallways, bathrooms, transmitter rooms, offices, parking lot, everywhere for people. No one. I get up to the entry room where the front desk / bowling alley door was. Bowling alley door is wide open. I closed and locked that fucker. I always did. Every time. This is where I began to go into panic and events are a little less clear. Dan and I head back to the control room and shut all the doors so no one could hear inside the room. Walkie-talkie lays silently on the desk by the board. Ask again if it's in there. Ask if it can see me. Decide that maybe someone could still be tricking me and is listening in on me somehow. Decide to see if this thing can really see me. I stand in front of the board and face the monitor wall. If I'm facing the monitor wall, beep twice. No. Fucking way. This was the first time this thing had beeped twice. I turn 180 degrees. If I'm facing the monitor wall, beep twice. If I'm facing the racks, beep once. I didn't believe it. I tested it again and again and again. Turning to different orientations and asking for different numbers of beeps. It got it right. Every single time. I'm panicked. It's now like 2:20 a.m. and I haven't logged break times for over an hour. I can no longer do my job. I am so fucking terrified. At some point, Dan and I just accept that we are in contact with something otherworldly. I ask it if it came out of the bowling alley. It did. I ask if it died in the fire. It did not. I asked it if there was a God. It said there was. Now, last time I told this story, people said, "Herder, your story was good until you got to this part," confirmed for fake faggot. I don't really care, I'm not going to omit it cause it fucking happened. As I am shifting into this new and terrifying worldview based on the experience I'm having, I ask if there is a hell. Are you in hell? On a scale of 1 to 10 by number of beeps, how bad is hell? It wouldn't stop. I start crying. I don't remember how many times it beeped before it finally stopped. I try to calm down, and pretty much at this point ignore the walkie-talkie and stop asking questions and start replaying shit with Dan and trying to come up with explanations, and catch up with my work. It's getting close to sign-off time, so I start with my close-up shot procedures, etc. As I'm shutting some shit off and talking to Dan, this thing starts beeping in series of 3. Start trying to determine and ask it some important of 3. It's like 2:45 a.m. 3 o'clock. Sign off. No. Is something going to happen at 3 o'clock? Fuck this. There is no way I'm going to be in this building. I set up the automation to automatically go to color bars after the national anthem and just go ahead and turn off the fucking transmitter 15 minutes early. Fuck this walkie-talkie, turn the fucker off and throw it on the charger. Dan and I go outside into the parking lot, he leaves. 3 a.m. comes. Nothing.